Meow. Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Monthly chart of Bitfarms gone sideways to downwards here for the last 5 or 6 months or so. Yikes, right? What are whales doing? Well, the blackhead fund flow trend and oscillator tells you, well, inflow and outflows actually has been continuously gone up over the last 6 or 7 months. Right? If you look at the MCDX, the red signal over here is supposed to tell you what the institutions are doing. The institutions actually remain in the stock over the last few months. There was a little bit of a downtrend here for the month of April, but it was followed by another uptick here for the month of May. Right. So matter of fact, if you look at zoom in a little bit closer, you can see that institution, they never really left. Right? They've been around, they never really left. And then for the last week, there's an uptick. Like there's a pretty significant increase in signal in terms of whale inflow momentum. And you can see like over here, this downtrend over here actually looks very, very similar to this downtrend over here for the last few months compared to back from July all the way through October. Very, very similar morphology in terms of the look of the price, and also very similar morphology in terms of the whale fund flow trend oscillator by Blackhead. Very similar morphology when it comes to the MCDX too, right? Except for the fact that there are more whales. Like the trend oscillator here is higher than it was before, and the red over here, red bars over here are a lot more compared to where it was back there. And now you might be signaling a little bit of a trend reversal here in terms of whale accumulation and whale inflow, right? You can also see that even the volume is also telling you the same thing. Buy volume up, sell volume down, buy volume up, sell volume way down, and buy volume is ticking up over the last couple of weeks, right? So the whales have been really buying behind the scene. If you look at the institutional accumulation, you look at institutional ownership data from fintel.io for the last 6 months, especially for the month of May, it's been up, like it's been way up. And you look at the percentage of institutional ownership has gone from like 20% last time I checked, maybe a couple months ago, to like 24%, right? And if you look at it like, oh, is it just a bunch of ETFs they're buying? Sure, you got some ETFs here and there, but you actually have a lot of true institutions ownerships over here. Like most of them actually are true institutions and not just ETFs adding. So it's quite interesting in terms of what's happening for the month of May when the news was just absolutely horrible with the CEO drama, CEO getting fired and, CEO suing company. A lot of really negative news happening that get released. And guess what the whales are buying behind the scene, right? Ridiculous. What is the price action? What has it been doing over the last, few months? Let's look at it a little bit closer. And for me to look at this a little closer, I have to pull up some indicators over here. Look at the Super Cloud, right? This is a 2 week chart. Each candle represents a 2 week worth of price action. You had a bullish cross that happened over here with this big giant green candle here on December 2023. Yeah. Big giant volume went in, broke inside the cloud, touched the top of the cloud. Guess what happens, right? Institutional, they stop buying. They think that price is a little bit expensive. Traders at the top of the top of a resistance level over here, what do? They sell, right? So it's just been range bound over here. Back tested the Kijun over here, bounced initially, but it broke down and tested the bottom of the cloud, right? So far, this is all kind of, not unexpected price action. Although ideally, I'd like to see a range bound between the top of the cloud and Kijun, but it went down and tested the bottom of the cloud. It happens. Guess what? It had a very, very good reaction for them. It bounced back above, right? Well, signals have been positive over the last week or two, right? So after you hit the bottom of the range, the logical thing is institutions, they find it to be cheap enough, they want to reaccumulate. Traders that sold up here, they saw the bottom range, they end up buying, right? So institutions are setting the floor and traders are also causing volatility, and traders and institutions at the bottom range are buying. If you look over at the volume shelf, you can see that it's just been range bound between these two big giant volume shelves over here right now at the bottom of the volume shelf, and we're bouncing up. Most likely, you're going to end up hitting the top of Ichimoku cloud as well as the top of the volume shelf over here. That's just what range bound means, right? At the top of the range, sell, bottom of the range, buy. That's what traders do. But right now, the selling volume has just been so exhausted. I think that things have already been reset. I think we're going to hit the bottom from bottom of the range to the top of the range. And when we get to the top of the range, it'd be interesting in terms of seeing what would happen. Over here, I'm going to show you some other things too. I think we're overbought, but over here, when we're going from up here again, we're not going to be overbought anymore because a lot of the indicators have already been reset, right? That's what range bound means. Sometimes before price going up, You have to kind of hit the top and the bottom of the range here to reset some of the indicators before going up higher, right? So that's what it's been doing, really, just been range bound between the top and bottom of the Subaichi cloud, top and bottom of the volume shelf over here. And then on top of that, you can also see, I'm going to pull up the Fibonacci levels over here, which is going to measure from the top of the cycle to the bottom of the cycle. And you're going to see that it's also range bound between these two very important fib levels, right? 0.382 and the 0.136, right? And it's just been hitting top range, now tested bottom range. Guess what's going to happen? Now we found support over here, probably going to go to the upper range, potentially challenge the top of range as resistance, and potentially push through, right? That's what I'm kind of expecting that price could happen. Now, in addition to looking at Fibonacci level, you can also see I did do a Gann square over here. I'm going to put the Gann square I drew from this candle over here near the previous cycle bottom. And what you can really see is pretty clear in terms of what price is happening. If the Gann square is nice because it really tells you what is going on, tells you the whole story in terms of what the cycles are doing. And what the cycle is doing is from this point, I mean, Bitfarm hasn't been around for that long. I think they IPO around August 2019. So they've only been around for about 5 years or so. And at the bottom over here, if you draw a Gann square, you can see that over here it went up and tried to push through a few of these arc resistances, a few of these arc levels, push it very, very impulsively up here, got rejected here in the confluence of this horizontal zone right around like $8, as well as the bottom of this arc right here, right? So it got rejected, try to back test it, try to push up in range bound between the arc over here and the arc down here, range bound here for about a whole year, right? Unable to push through, lost momentum, broke down the arc, tested the arc underneath of that, trying to break above, back to this arc over here, got rejected, found an angle support over here, broke back above, got rejected over here at the horizontal line over here around like, $1.20, $1.30, went back down, tested another arc, was able to have a little bit of an ascending triangle, pushed back above, got rejected with this arc over here, went back down, back tested this angle over here. Everything so far is so nice. Like it's so nice how it's working out. Push back above. Now this time you have enough volume, right? And this is what really got a lot of people really bullish back over here in November. Push back above the arc over here. Got everybody very bullish, but unable to go through further again because of the Subaichi cloud, right? And because of the Subaichi cloud trying to bounce above Subaichi cloud a couple times, not able to break above of it to hit the arc up here. So guess what it did? It went back down, back tested the arc down here again, right? Also confluence with the arc was the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. You were finding some very, very strong support over here. In addition to another volume shelf over here too, right? A lot of confluence in addition to a Fibonacci level over here, right? A lot of confluence down here around the 1.6 level bounced. What's going to happen? Probably going to end up hitting the top of range, probably going to end up hitting the arc over here. We'll see whether or not it has enough energy to kind of push through the arc, kind of like it did over here, right? Push through the arc over here, push through the arc over here. You're probably going to end up hitting some really, really strong resistance here at around $8, right? Now, before that though, you're probably going to end up having some resistance here at the high fours before pushing through, but I can see it kind of going like that before going through. But so far, the trend is still bullish, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, right? Found a very, very important confluence of support level over here. Probably going to end up pushing higher is what I'm guess is, right? That's what the Gann square is telling me in terms of what the story is. And it's so nice when things are playing out like this, right? Again, on the 2-week chart, still have a bullish crosshair Subaichi cloud. So everything is still kind of working out to the bull's favor if you have a longer term horizon of the next like 12 to 18 months, right? And the volume also telling you that the selling volume seems to be pretty exhausted here so far. So that is what is going on in terms of the range, right? Now, I did say that range is trying to reset momentum, right? What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the weekly RSI, I'm going to put weekly RSI over here. Weekly RSI have been overbought when price went all the way up to like, to like $4, right? And you have a little bit of a bearish divergence over here where RSI went down and price went up. So this bear divergence has to play out, right? I thought it was going to play out around here, but no, it made a little tiny lick down further, which is fine. Like it really reset the RSI down way down far below. If you look at the RSI signature, it looks very similar to what happened over here too, right? Just went up, reset, but price is still higher than, price over here is still higher than what it was over here, right? So RSI had gone nowhere, but price had gone up. So this is a perfect example of like, some relative hidden bullish divergence over here that's been happening. Again, the buying volume over the last couple of weeks has been going up. This is a good sign. Right? So if you look at the monthly though, and in the 2 week, you can see like some reset in sentiment here too in terms of RSI. On the monthly, it hasn't really even been overbought. Like the highest it really gotten to maybe was like 60 at most, right? It still hasn't been overbought, and the trend for RSI is still up as well, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? So the trend is probably going to end up continuing upwards because there's really no reason to think that this bull trend over here over the last 18 months or so have been exhausted. I think it's probably going to end up keep pushing up higher. And if the RSI end up hitting like the 70s and 80s, you're really talking about the price could go up to the teens potentially, right? No guarantees, of course, but that's kind of what I'm seeing in terms of what momentum's doing. Not overbought at all for the monthly, and the weekly was originally overbought, was originally having some bearish divergence. All of those things have already played out, and now it's not overbought anymore. It's a bull trend, so you imagine the price is going to keep going up, right? One other thing too I'd like to show you is look at a 2 week chart here again. I'm going to pull up the open the on balance volume over here. Even though you have all of this weeks and weeks and weeks of selling pressure, right? If you add up all of these volume candles over here, and you're basically going to subtract all this volume from the on balance volume, right? It went all the way negative, right? Did price go negative? No, the price actually just kind of went down, but not really down that much. Like it's not even that exponentially down. It's actually been slowing down its momentum throughout the entire downtrend over here, right? So what it's really telling you is that even though there's a lot of selling candles over here, there are a lot of buyers behind the scene. The on balance volume is telling you that if you have a very very strong bullish divergence over here. If all of these selling pressure is real, then price would have plummeted to negative, right? Because over here is telling you the balance volume has actually gone way down, but price actually gone way up, right? So this is a very, very classic hidden bullish divergence that you're seeing. A lot of hidden bullish momentum has been building, both in terms of RSI reset, on balance volume bullish divergence, telling you that there's a lot of buying pressure behind the scene. The wells are in, right? I show you multiple indicators to show you that the wells are in, right? So you're telling me all these good things. What are some of the bad things? Well, you still have a lot of resistance about here on the volume shelf, right? You're still going to have resistance here at the bull market support band, right? The bull market support band is negative sloping. So this might require either a big giant green candle to kind of push up above to really change the bull market support band to be positive sloping again. Or you might end up having the price kind of go sideways a lot longer for maybe another few weeks. But again, it seems like we're at a very strong confluence of support here. It might be enough to just push price up above the bull market support band to get rid of some of these resistance over here, right? Another confluence of support down here, I forgot to show you, was that you also have 100 down here, 100-week moving average, and it also bounced from 50-week moving average over here too, right? So you still have a bull trend over here on the weekly, and we just need to either impulsively break above the bull market support band, or we just need to go sideways, kind of bounce between 20 and 50, before going up again, right? Over here, like 20 was also negative sloping. All it takes is just one candle to just kind of push everything way above, right? To develop this bull trend that we have over here so far. And the bull trend is still intact. So why did they make us go through all this pain? Like, why do we have to go through all this? If this is a greater bull market, why can't we just go straight up? There's a very good reason for that. First of all, this thing over here looks like an Elliott wave expanded flat. Like it just exactly looks just like that. these things have been, documented in other bull markets as a way to cool off sentiment, as a way to cool off RSI. Is basically, you have an elite wave expanded flat here. If you're going to draw elite waves, I think there's a very, very good potential that on the last cycle, and again, I'm not an elite wave cat, but on the last cycle, I think that this was wave one and wave two. Wave three was actually all the way up there. Wave four was down here, and you have a truncated wave five. For whatever reason, you have a truncated wave five. Well, you can do truncated wave five right here, right? For whatever reason, wave five just wasn't able to push above wave three, so this was really significantly truncated. Maybe it was because the liquidity was really leaving in a hurry, maybe because of inflation, maybe because a lot of people are really worried that the Fed was going to come and hammer rates to push all the way up. So you have a truncated wave five over here. I'm seeing a little bit of a different picture here on this cycle. I'm seeing that there's a potential where this whole giant thing over here was, wave one all the way up here. And then wave two, you're supposed to kind of cool things down, right? And what we end up getting on wave two is an expanded Elliott wave, expanded flat, right? So instead of having your traditional ABC, you have a little bit of expanded flat over here. What is wave three going to do? Wave three, per Elliott wave theory, wave three is supposed to be the strongest wave out of the whole five waves. So wave three could take us potentially to the teens, and then wave four could be kind of brutal, and then wave five could end up finishing the whole cycle. Got everybody all euphoric. Everybody bought the dip here in four, and everybody thought that it was going to go up a lot higher, and they all end up being exit liquidity, right? So that's kind of the picture that I'm seeing. If you're believe in Elliott waves and all that, I still think most likely this whole thing is just wave one, with subwave one, two, three, four, and five, right? And then what this wave two could just be an expanded Elliott wave, expanded flat. And the wave three is just starting. If wave three is just starting, you could have a pretty strong run to go up a lot higher, right? But before wave three starts, you have to have these kind of sentiment change, right? Why do you do this? Well, another way to look at this, you look at the monthly bull in Japan, right? What ends up happening, by the way, you also kind of getting a little bit close to a rising 20-month moving average, so that could have been pretty strong support over here as well, right? But what happens in a bull market is this. From a bear market to a bull market is this. You need to expand the Bollinger Band up, right? Before you expand the Bollinger Band, you're going to try to stretch a little bit as much as you can to get things kind of going a little bit. You have a little bit of stretch over here, right? Get things going a little bit. But this is just the first move. Like wave one is just the first move, trying to expand the Bollinger Band up here a little bit, trying to correct some of the bearish momentum over here. But wave two is the corrective move down, right? Because you do need a little bit of cool down after it's trying to stretch the Bollinger Band up here, right? Wave three is when the Bollinger Band is really fully extended, and when you actually have the chance for price to go up along the upper Bollinger Band, to go up higher, right? That hasn't really started yet based on RSI. Again, like none of this is really that parabolic. If you look at how whales have been buying, look at how institutional has been buying, I think they might be anticipating the price go a lot higher, right? None of that really has quite happened yet. You really don't have a parabolic bull trend quite just yet, right? So all of this is just trying to stretch Bollinger Band, allowing the next leg of bull trend to kind of go up higher, right? All of this are signifying that this over here last 6 months could be reaccumulation, right? Again, traders are causing this volatility. In institutions, they're trying to find good support levels at the bottom of these ranges to buy. That is my thesis in terms of what's happening with Bitfarms. And if you're wondering about targets, in terms of what targets could potentially be, I'm going to pull out the 2-week over here again. I'm going to draw the current, again, square back over here. Again, from this area over here, from that candle over here at the bottom of this last cycle over here, confluence with the Fibonacci level from the cycle top to the cycle bottom. Gonna get rid of that over there. Gonna get rid of the volume signatures over here. Gonna get rid of the Bollinger Band over here. The targets that you can potentially hit right here again, right around $4. get back to the top of the range, you could potentially hit the arc right up here, confluent with some of the Fibonacci levels, either hitting arc and kind of getting closer to $7 or $6 right around here, right? You can hit the top of the line over here, which is going to be close to previous cycle top, which is going to be around $8, right? But if you're able to break about these resistance, I'm not saying that it will, because there's a lot of resistance here to break about, both in terms of Fibonacci levels, in terms of like Gann arcs and Gann lines over here. If you're able to break about all these, resistance levels over here, and again, we're already trying to break about this arc over here for a whole year back in the last cycle, right? If we're able to break through about over here over the next 12 to 18 months, you could potentially hit this arc right up here, which is close to like $20 or in the lower 20s. That's a possibility. If you hit about this arc over here, you can hit like the low 30s. That's a possibility too. I wouldn't count against it. I wouldn't count on it. I'm just telling you what the possibilities are. Can you hit this level over here around like $4 and that's the end of the cycle? It just goes down. That's possible too, right? Could it break down underneath the range to test the bottom of the arc? That's also possible, right? But this is a bull trend, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. The next stop is probably going to be trying to challenge some of these resistance lines up here, and we'll see how powerful this move is when it comes, right? There is a potential. Again, I wouldn't go any further than what I'm seeing here in the low 20s. It could even end here in the teens, and 1.618 also could potentially be a pretty significant resistance level. Could hit this angle line over here and got rejected, and that's the end of the cycle. That's also possible, right? But I'm just showing you what is possible. Nobody really knows how far these price targets are. I'm showing you why things are doing the way they are, and I'm also showing you what could potentially be happening. I'm trying to explain the logic behind the current price action, but I do not know what's going to happen in the future. These are all speculation. I'm in it. I did not sell. I did not buy the bottom range because I was buying other things. But I'm in it. I'm holding. I'm going to see where it takes us during the cycle. And I think that is still the real move may still not have happened yet. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.